Let's rise for the Pledge of the Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Alexander?
Yes.
Henry?
Yes.
Human?
Yes.
Lentine?
Here.
Lewis? Morgan? Yes. O'Toole?
C.
Entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda.
So moved.
Alexander?
Yes.
Henry?
Yes.
Human?
Yes.
Lentine?
Yes.
Lewis? Morgan?
Yes.
O'Toole?
Yes.
Thank you. I- Crystal? Yes. All right. After, entertain a motion to accept the minutes of the city council meeting from April 14th.
So moved.
Second.
That was part of consent agenda. I'm sorry, we would like to, I entertain a motion to excuse Chief Rowe and Crystal Bext.
So moved. Second.
And why are we excusing them? Question?
Chief is at a conference this week,
Okay.
and Crystal has family, had to attend to some family members that have health issues.
Thank you.
Alexander?
Yes.
Henry?
Yes.
Human?
Yes.
Lentine?
Yes.
Lewis? Morgan? Yes. O'Toole?
Yes.
Reports. Mayor?
Yes, in cooperation with the schools, we have put a link to the Richmond Heights Local School District Resident Survey on our website. The Richmond Heights Local School District is working with the Synergy Marketing for a strategic planning, development of a new strategic 5-year plan. They need our opinions to help guide this strategic direction of the school system. So all of Richmond Heights residents, teachers, staff, parents, and students are invited and encouraged to participate in this survey. Also, today I gave the oath of office to a part-time patrol officer, Michael T. Mayer, and he'll be starting on duty tomorrow, and a ceremonial oath will be planned for the future council meeting. I'm also very pleased to announce my appointment of Jessica Gift as a part-time recreation director. She's a certified Parks and Recreation professional with 7 years of program development and coordinating and management experience. So we have legislation tonight for her. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Chief Newman is there.
Thank you, Council President Henry, Mayor Roche, members of council, members of the community. A couple items this evening. Firefighters will begin testing fire hydrants on Monday, May 4th. Division of Fire conducts the annual inspections to ensure that the hydrants we depend on for extinguishing fires are operational, provide adequate water flow, and maintain adequate system pressure. NFPA standards also call for all public fire hydrants to be inspected on a regular basis. When we test, we clean the threads, we flush and check the working condition of the hydrant and the flows. All testing is done by our on-duty personnel. Any fire hydrant found to be in need of repair is identified and tagged. Repairs are reported to be completed by the Cleveland Division of Water. Should you notice the fire personnel checking hydrants in your area, be assured our intentions are not to waste water or destroy property. We are working to ensure your safety. Should you notice a hydrant in need of repair, please call the Division of Fire or the Service Department so repairs can be initiated. I put some information on our website about the fire hydrant testing as well. We have a CPR course scheduled for Monday, June 22nd. It's a Heart Saver CPR course. It's going to be held at the Richmond+Heights Fire Station on Monday, June 22nd from 6:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Division of Fire, in partnership with University Hospital Richmond Medical Center, offers bi-monthly CPR courses to the residents of Richmond Heights. The Heart Saver CPR AED course is a classroom, video-based, instructor-led course that teaches adult CPR and AED use, as well as how to relieve choking in an adult. Anybody who's interested, call me, Chief Newman, at 216-383-6304. Class size is limited to 12 students per class. These classes are free to residents of Richmond Heights. This course is for the general public. It's not the healthcare provider course. Division of Fire will also be hosting a CPR class for our Richmond Heights CERT team at their regular meeting on Monday, July 20th. That concludes my report for this evening.
Thank you. Yes, and the commission, Building Commissioner Phil Sebo.
Madam Chairman, Mayor, and members of council and citizen, I have a couple of things I'd like to report tonight. Citizens, I take that back. I have two short announcements, and then I would like to take a few minutes of your time to review the results of a public hearing that I attended in Columbus regarding school barricading, the secondary barricading of school doors. But first of all, we did have a successful interview and offer a job to a fire safety inspector. We offered a job to Mr. Ralph Zeitz, who was a 27-year firefighter from the city of Cleveland and a certified fire safety inspector. Mr. Zeitz was a very good candidate, and he accepted our offer and will be starting in about 2 weeks. He will be working approximately 20 to 24 hours a week for the building department, and we're going to get him started approximately May 11th. The other thing I'd like to announce was that we did receive a lease agreement and a certificate of insurance for an event that's going to be held at the Richmond Town Center, and the event is called Motorsports Lab. And basically what Motorsports Lab is a driving tests for individuals that want an opportunity to drive a really high-end car. Motorsports Lab is going to deliver to the site 4 cars such as Lamborghinis and Ferraris. They're going to have 4 on the site on May 15th, 16th, and 17th. And I believe that their procedure is that people pay for the opportunity to drive a course that's laid out on the mall parking lot to have an experience in driving a car like that. There will be no noise. There will be no drag racing or speeding. There will be no squealing of tires, I'm told. And it'll be on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of that weekend. And if it's successful, they are planning on holding it again a second weekend about 2 weeks after that.
What month is that?
It's called Motorsports Lab.
And what month?
It's
May?
on May 15th, 16th, and 17th. And it's going to be in the back part of the lot, back behind the Sears building.
Yes, my backyard. Yeah, we'll see if there's any squealing. Yes.
I have a question for Mr. Sable. Can you
Absolutely, you'll have it tomorrow.
Sounds like fun.
Now, on this other issue of barricades in schools, there was a public hearing last Friday, actually 2 Fridays ago, April 17th, in the offices of the Board of Building Standards in Columbus. And the discussion centered around, the testimonies centered around the issue of the secondary barricading of school doors. Now, the secondary barricading is an interesting issue, and I want to start my little short, I'm going to take maybe 5 or 6 minutes of your time if I may. I want to start with a few of our current codes that they're trying to get around, if you want to call it that, and a few definitions here. To begin with, I would like to say that the current codes for door hardware, for exit hardware in any commercial building, including schools, have four issues that they deal with. An egress door, which is basically an exit door, the egress is the term that the code uses. The fire code and the building code are identical, I might add, as we start out this discussion. An egress door must open from the inside of the building without the use of any tools or special knowledge. A tool would mean a key. Special knowledge might mean a combination of some kind. So you have to be able to get out of the building, such as this door right out here. It can be locked to keep people from coming in, but it can never be locked to keep people from getting out. And the school door is no different. Next, an egress door must be equipped with hardware that does not require tight grasping, so that a handicapped person doesn't have to grab it very tightly and turn it. That's why we use push bars that we call panic bars on most exit hardware. Manually operated surface flush bolts are not permitted on egress doors. That means that when you run up to the door and push that bar, there can't be any slide bolts, there can't be any turn bolts or dead bolts or anything like that on the door. They are permitted in some cases, but on panic hardware they are not permitted. And lastly, all egress doors must open with one motion, and that's what I was just referring to. Even in an apartment building nowadays, where you have on the inside of the door, on the outside of the door to get into your apartment, you have a doorknob with a key cylinder right above it. To leave that apartment, though, when you turn the inside lever hardware or doorknob, as you're turning the doorknob, the deadbolt must retract automatically without any additional use of your hand, your wrist. You don't have to open a deadbolt. You don't have to unlock anything. You don't even have to turn a thumb turn. As you're turning the doorknob, the turning of the doorknob retracts the deadbolt automatically. That's called one turn of the wrist, and the code requires that in exit doors. So those four things are important now. Those four things have been developed in the code over the years, mostly through hard knocks. As you know, the code, the building and the fire code were developed mostly from the experience of losses. One loss happened not far from here in Collinwood, where there was a school fire that resulted in a large loss of life. So as a result of the codes that we have now, we have not lost a life in an educational facility since 1954. So the codes that we have now do a pretty good job. Now, there's a couple of terms that they used during this discussion that I wanted to throw out. And one is, the first term is intruders. They say that we're trying to keep intruders out of the schools and out of the classrooms. That's an important topic, because in today's, as an inherent part of today's problem, the intruder oftentimes becomes a student. So in a couple of weeks or 3 weeks ago, we understand that a plane crashed in the Alps, and the intruder was the pilot. The intruder, the bad guy, was already in the cockpit, okay? And what we're trying to prevent here, in the preventing of intruders, quote unquote, from getting into a building, we're trying to prevent the staff of a school building or other people from locking out the first responders. It's important that first responders can get into the school building, as they should be able to handle a situation The locking of the school is important, but the intruders, as long as we understand what an intruder is, the intruder could be a person from outside the school, but more often than that, it's a person who is already in the school. A barricade is another interesting term. What exactly is a barricade? People were throwing this term around at the hearing without really knowing what they were talking about. A barricade can be a lock. Any kind of a door lock is in fact a barricade to opening the door. Your home doors are barricaded from the entry of intruders from the outside. What we're trying to do is prevent barricades that prevent people from getting out of the building. And people suggested during the hearing that barricades might be desks or furniture pushed in front of a door. That's not a good idea for a couple of obvious reasons. First of all, most of the classroom doors open out, and so it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to push a door in front of the door, push a piece of furniture in front of the door that opens out. Another obvious problem is that when you have stuff that prohibits students from easily exiting the building, at a certain point in any emergency, it comes time to evacuate the building. And if there are impediments to evacuating the building, that's a bad thing. The people, once the situation, the emergency situation is under control, students need to be evacuated without having a lot of their barricades or furniture in their way to stop them from doing that. The director of the Ohio Department of Public Safety, a man by the name of John Bourne, testified, and he had an interesting but short testimony. One of the things he said was that 81% of the incidents that happened around the United States recently were known about by somebody before the incident. They weren't secrets. So what the state has done is they've adopted a hotline number. It's a confidential hotline, and it will take both calls and texts. And the number is 844-SAFER-OH, S-A-F-E-R-O-H, 844-SAFER-OH. That calls an anonymous, and people can leave anonymous tips by either voicemail or a voice message or text about incidents that they may know about in the effort of finding out about these things before they occur. And the other issue is that they have made a number of dog teams available for use around the state for use when there are bomb threats in our schools. He had several other things to say that I won't go into. Another person who testified was Chief Deputy State Fire Marshal Jeff Learning, and he was very adamant, as were other firemen that testified, that we don't want secondary barricades. If primary locks, such as the ones I described in my opening remarks, are properly used, they can keep our doors safe and secure. And secondary type of barricades, which could include bars that hook over the doorknob or other such inventions of somebody's imagination, again, are only going to stop first responders from doing what they need to do or stop the safe evacuation of the classrooms, or both. Ohio Department of Education, Dr. Rick Ross spoke. He was in favor of using primary locking devices, but hadn't drawn any conclusions about secondary devices. One of the interesting things about his discussion was that he advocated locking classroom doors, and that's not a thing that a lot of the schools are equipped to do right now. All of the exterior doors to schools obviously have locks on them to keep people out after hours, or to keep unauthorized people out during school hours, but few classroom doors are locked. Many classroom doors have windows in them that would preclude them from being properly locked anyways. So if that was going to be a procedure that would be adopted, it would probably include the expense of both the door and the lock. But it would still be a lock that fits the description of the four codes that I started my talk with. Buckeye Sheriff's Association representative Sheriff Randy Thorpe, he was about the only one that really testified that was for using secondary locking devices. And again, I'm not sure that he really said what kind of a secondary locking device he had in mind, but he reiterated that he was for locking the school buildings, locking the classrooms, regardless of what it took to lock them. Chief Andrew Powers of the Ohio University Police Department testified similarly. He didn't want the universities to be left out of the discussion. Talked about the shooting at Virginia Tech, but again, the shooting at Virginia Tech was a student. It wasn't a person trying to get into the school. The Building Officials Association, of which I'm a part, testified. We testified basically that there are many, many locking devices that could be used legitimately within the scope of today's code. It had been mentioned during somebody else's testimony that putting locks on all the classroom doors was going to be very expensive, and that schools were probably not going to be able to afford that. But then again, it was mentioned by another person that with the multi-million-dollar technology packages that universities and schools are adopting today, and the multi-million-dollar sports programs that are being run today, you would think that if the students' health and welfare depended upon locked classroom doors, the money could probably be found for them. Last, I would like to close with the information that 2 bills in the Ohio legislature have already been introduced. Prematurely, we all believe, Senate Bill 125 and House Bill 114 are very similar, practically the same in language. And I'm just going to read the initial language in one of these 2 bills. It says, amend the section of the revised code to regulate the Board of Building Standards, to require the Board of Building Standards to adopt rules for the use of a barricade device on a school door in an emergency situation, and to prohibit the state fire code from prohibiting the use of the device in such a situation. So what they're trying to do is, without even knowing what a barricade is exactly, they're trying to introduce legislation to override the building and the fire code. The Building Officials Association and the State Fire Chiefs Association are both adamantly against those ideas, and I would hope that our council here would give some thought to that and then address their comments to both of those bills too. So that's my synopsis of the 3-hour-long meeting down there, and if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you very much. Yes.
I have a question. Our schools, police and fire, they go to a door. Do you have a key to that door? Is there a lockbox on the doors?
There should be and could be what we call a Knox box on the doors. Schools have a Knox box, but they're usually found in one place. And your comment, one door. Your comment that they could be located in additional places is not a bad comment. Knox boxes located on a variety of exterior doors might prove to be useful in an emergency situation. A Knox box is made by the Knox Corporation. That's why it's called that. But it's basically a box that only the fire chief has a key to, and inside the box is a key to the building. So and in many fire departments, the fire crew on the job, on the scene, can't even get into the box. The 911 operator has to send an electronic signal to open the box to lessen the chances of unauthorized access to it. So bottom line is the fire department can get into the box, nobody else can, and inside the box is a key to the building, or multiple keys to the building.
Shouldn't we be talking to the school? I mean, you think about.
We certainly intend to, yeah. And a similar situation,
Front door.
A similar situation could be adopted for the police department also. The police department could also have their own Knox box with a key only for the police and a key inside so that if a fireman isn't readily available to open the box, that a police officer could also open the box. Not any police officer. There would be a obviously very limited number of people able to access that. But that's it's a good suggestion and something that we will suggest that they adopt.
If I can I'll comment about House Bill 64 if you like. Just an FYI, thank you, Council President. Just an FYI also, this legislation is also embedded in House Bill 64, which is the budget bill, which is passed on June 30th. And House Bill 64 was passed out to the Ohio representatives on April 22nd. The bill contains language that permits the administrator, superintendent, principal, chief administrator officer, or person having supervisory authority of a school district, school, or other educational entity as part of the school's comprehensive emergency management plan to approve of the installation of security devices. That's the barricade devices. Including devices that prevent both ingress and egress through a door in a building and buildings under the administrator's control. Specifies that the devices may be installed only if approved by both the police chief or equivalent of the law enforcement agency that has jurisdiction over the school building and the fire chief or equivalent of the fire department that serves the political subdivision in which the building is located. It prohibits the state fire code from containing any provision that prohibits the use of such security devices so long as the devices are properly approved. Specifically permits the administrator to incorporate protocols into existing emergency management plan for 1, situations involving an act of terrorism, a person possessing a deadly weapon on school property or another act of violence, or 2, any other emergency event that requires students either to be secured in the building or rapidly evacuated to a threat. So basically, they're using there's multiple pieces of legislation out there addressing the same issue. House Bill 64 is the budget document, and it's in House Bill 64 as well. And what it does is it places the decision-making process and the power in the hands of the school administrators if they want to incorporate these barricade devices in their facility. And that's where the building officials and the fire and police officials are taking exception. The people that commit these acts are very innovative, and they also morph their tactics when confronted with obstacles as well. There's been cases where they've used a fire alarm to get people to exit the building and then commit the acts as well. So there's always a countermeasure. And there needs to be a lot more discussion, a lot more thought on this particular type of barricade.
Do you all know of any anti-legislation circulating at this time against these bills?
I don't know of any petitions at this moment. I think that we're advocating that the sponsors of these bills are both on the title document, and we're advocating that people get to these sponsors and ask them to rethink their positions, at least at this time, so that the bills stall long enough to at least discuss the issue properly.
Thank you.
Madam President?
Yes.
Question off this topic, and it's quite enlightening what you just told us about locks and barricades and all that for doors. But I want to shift gears here just for a second, and it will only be a second. This question is for you, Mr. Siebold, in the building department. I would like to know what is our procedure and what is our position on repaving of public parking lots. When I say public, the one that comes to mind immediately is our post office. When I go into that post office, and I've been going in there for years, and it's just, it's really a hazard to try to drive around the potholes. They occasionally try to fill them up with some things, but it's just terrible. And I know it's part of the government. I know it's the part of the federal government. Who do we write letters to? Who do we strong arm? Who do we go after and make our point to get this repaired? Not only is the parking lot, but it's the aprons of the parking lots, in and out. When I go to the post office and I'm on Richmond Road, and this is part of the city's problem too, and I guess there's a patch there in the road. But as soon as I try to get through the traffic and get into the post office, I am bouncing my head off the roof of my car. I mean, it is really in bad shape. How do we go about getting this repaired?
One of the first official acts that I did when Mayor Ursu hired me was to meet with Dr. Awais, who owns the property, get a copy of his lease agreement from the U.S. Postal Service, and contact a whole host of postal managers from downtown Cleveland to their main facility in Atlanta that controls this part of the country insofar as their facilities go, and talk to them about not just the condition of the parking lot, but the condition of the painting around the building and other such building maintenance issues. Since then, I've written enough letters that I believe I probably should be paid piecework instead of by the hour. And we have yet to even get a response, let alone any work done. They don't talk to us. They don't acknowledge the letters. They don't listen, period. I would suggest maybe that we contact our senators
That's what I'm
and
suggesting.
talk to somebody like that, because I don't think we're going to ever get anywhere
And
with
who
the
needs to
Postal
write these
Service.
letters, Mr. Law Director? Perhaps,
I can give all the
a
names.
councilperson, a department head, a resident. This is, I mean, it's really terrible. And
I'd be happy
we
to,
deserve at least an answer.
to take it to whatever level that you think you would like it to, if the mayor has any ideas or any contacts in the federal government, I'd be happy to take any suggestion that I can
Private
get, because
person
we haven't
owns-
done any good yet.
A private person, as you mentioned his name, owns the property.
Yes,
The government leases it from you.
yes. And it's a type of a lease under which they control the entire property. He has no responsibilities on the property whatsoever.
Well, somebody has a responsibility, because that parking lot is dangerous. How do you suggest we go about this? I mean, who do I need to write a letter to or make a phone call to?
I can just suggest that I discuss it with the mayor, and maybe he can make some suggestions, or with Todd.
Okay, thank you.
I would think Congresswoman Budge might have your first line of question. This is her district thing.
I guess what I'm frustrated about is why does it take that? Why do we have to write political letters to our representative? I know that's what they do. I know that we're doing the same thing as council people. But I mean, they have to know how bad that is. And if you have written these many letters and been in contact with people, obviously they're aware of that, even though they're not responding to it. I would really like to see some pressure put on somebody in charge of repairing this thing. It's not just filling a pothole. Has anybody been in there? Am I the only one that notices this? It's terrible.
I believe that the letters probably go to the same place that letters to Santa Claus go to.
Well, we've taken enough time, but I will personally follow up with a letter and a phone call, and I'll let you know how I do. I'll get back to you. Thank you. I think.
All right, Mr. Seaborn, I guess you wish you never took the microphone. All right, Ms. McKayla.
Thank you, Madam President, Mayor Roach, members of council, and residents. That's kind of a tough act to follow. I did want to talk a little bit about the income tax collections. And as you know, last month I talked about it and said in March we were behind what we were last year. But that being early in the year, I wasn't overly concerned about it. And as it turns out, in April, we tended to swing in the other direction. We are $140,000 ahead of last April's collections, which is about 22.5% ahead of last year. Overall, we're at 2.16 million as opposed to 2.11 last year, which is roughly 50,000 ahead in total collections. And we have collected just about 36% of the projected total for the year. So we are trending positively in that, and I was glad to see those results. Just wanted to mention briefly, since Crystal was out of town, Mr. Seabolt and I went to a meeting with the county today regarding the demolition grant, and we're given some information regarding, some of the mechanisms as to how the grant is supposed to operate, which information we'll be sharing with Crystal when she gets back. And most likely, I think it would probably be a good idea to have another conversation with the land bank just to make sure that we're doing what we need to do at our end, so that there aren't any snags. We did have quite a bit of good information. As I said, they did pass out a packet. We're rather exhaustive into how it was supposed to operate, and there was a lot of good information that was shared. I wanted to mention about, we are in the process, of course, of working on getting a replacement for our accounts payable clerk. I've been working with members of the search committee, one of whom is here tonight. And I would like to report that we are starting to schedule interviews. We've scheduled at least one for early next week, and I believe one or two more will be in the offing, so hopefully we'll have that position filled fairly soon. I also wanted to report, pleased to report this because every finance committee since I've been here, council's been asking, with regard to the reconciliations. Subject to reviewing them, I'm happy to report that we have caught up through the end of 2014, and we have completed through March of 2015. As I mentioned in the Finance Committee last time, this doesn't include the look back to figure out, what makes up the number that we're off from prior periods, but we're at a point now that we are in good stead as far as being current and going forward. So that is my report for this evening, unless there are any questions.
Good news.
Yes, great, thank you. Service Director, Donald Fernisky.
Thank you, Madam President. For the month of April, we've been going out and doing some chipping of branches. We've been able to do over 190 residents since the month of April. We're still getting calls every day. We're doing some more spring cleaning. We've been doing their yards. We started doing our landscaping and Memorial over in the park entrance has been all taken care of, around the pool area, fire department, city hall. We're still working on the police department at this time. The pool has been drained, cleaned, and we're working on putting the rest of it together. We don't seem to have any major problems at the moment that we're standing out, so we got fingers crossed. We had Arbor Day last Friday. We planted a purple pansy ornamental tree over there by the tennis courts. We had some kids from elementary school and some adults came over. And passed around some pictures of the baseball fields, the Sand Park and Richmond Park. Richmond Park, we've been playing ball already on all three fields. And the Sand Park, we kind of finished up on there today with pretty heavy cleaning of the hardball fields, the infields particularly. They were all covered with grass, and we kind of gotten touched up quite a bit right now. We have some more to do, and not done at all yet with those ball fields. And, adding cages are covered, hopefully both sides, but I think one side for sure was done today.
I have a question about the ball diamonds. It seems to me, every time we drag the field, the infield is larger and larger, the skin area. I know there's nothing to do now because the season's starting, we're playing, well, the kids are playing ball. Is there any way that we could bring that back to where it belongs? I mean, we have kids playing on a ball diamond that doesn't even look like a ball diamond anymore for them because they couldn't get into the grass area if they tried. And I know they are trying, but what I'm saying is that we need to shrink that infield. We drag it and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. At some point, whether this grass grows wild or not, maybe we ought to start incorporating that to stay in some of the area. Some of those infields are huge, or the dirt area is huge.
After I looked at that, initially, I thought it would have been better to just leave the grass on the field and just keep the baseline so open up in the dirt, like the Cleveland Indians have.
Right.
I can't do anything about that this year because I'm coming in late. But in order to get them playable, we made them as symmetrical as we could possibly make them.
Maybe we just
They
keep it
all
in
have
mind.
lips
Just
on
keep
them,
it in mind.
and next spring, they'll look completely different. But we're just trying to get them out there to get them playing right now. The weather definitely was not on our favor this year.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Thank you.
I think you want to make a comment on the leaves should be banned.
Yes, from the history that I know about leaf pickup, I know this past year, they went late into the winter because of the snowfall, picking up leaves with our vacuums and things like that. And it has not been a policy to go back in the springtime and catch up on any resident issues that they have. Any residents that have leaves out there now should be bagging them so that they can put them out there with the trash. It's not a lot that what I'm seeing. Some houses have a little more than others. But if we go out there and try to do it now and take our crews out there, we will be just inundated with leaves from everybody. And we can't afford to do that. We don't have the manpower or the time. We have all these other issues that we're trying to get the pool and the parks cleaned up and grass cutting. So if you know of any residents that call you, please ask them to put them in the bags and stick them out there with the trash.
Are these the bags that are available in the rec department, or these are?
They're the ones that you can pick up at the hardware store, the paper ones.
I know we have some bags available.
That's a recycling
Plastic.
bag.
Yeah, I think those
Recycling.
are the blue recycling.
I'll make a note on the website.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I think we're planning to put it on the information board also. So it's all-
Thank you. City Engineer Lee Courtney.
Just two items, Madam President. The gas company's planning on putting a new gas line at the south side of Chardon Road and Brush Road about 700 feet to the east down in front of the hospital. And the proposed cable relocations by CEI at Maris Woods at least 3 months away. And when they say something like that, probably means it's a lot more than that.
Thank you. Thank you.
I can make a couple announcements in lieu of the recreation. And the Heights Regional Chamber of Commerce Expo is going to be on May the 7th. And the time is from 3 to 7 p.m. So,
And location.
and that is at the
Hilton, isn't it?
Hilton Garden Inn, yeah, in April. On Shred Day, we'll be out here at City Hall on May the 9th from 9 to 12. So we have our Shred Day, going to have 2 Shred Days this year. The first one is the May 9th. So that's the 2 items that I wanted to add. Thank you.
And then we'll just add again, we'll repeat what we said in Committee of the Whole. The schools, Neighbors Make a Difference Day, which is going to be May 13th, 1 o'clock to 8 p.m. and they're asking volunteers to come help clean up the school grounds and the building, as well as volunteer supplies, time and supplies. Thank you. We'll move on to audience questions or comments. None? Okay. Well, because we do have our new rec director, you don't have to put the camera on her, but she's out here for anybody who wants to see our new rec director, Jessica Gift. She's there. Thank you. Thank you. And if you want to say something, you can. Otherwise, you could be shy. Thank you, Jessica. Since you happen to be here, thank you. Yes, glad to have you here, as a matter of fact. Thank you. Thank you very much. So then we have no old business, and we can move to new business.
Resolution number 38, 2015, introduced by Mayor and all of council, first reading. A resolution approving the appointment by the mayor of Jessica Gift as Director of Recreation and declaring an emergency.
Mayor, would you like to have a comment?
I move the recommend. I move for suspension. Second.
Alexander? Henry?
Yes.
Human?
Yes.
Lentine?
Yes.
Lewis? Morgan?
Yes.
O'Toole?
Yes.
Move for passage.
Second.
Alexander?
Yes.
Henry?
Yes.
Human?
Yes.
Lentine?
Yes.
Lewis? Morgan?
Yes.
O'Toole?
Yes.
Resolution 38, 2015 passes unanimously.
Okay, ordinance number 39, 2015, introduced by O'Toole, first reading. An ordinance to make appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Richmond Heights, state of Ohio, during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2015, to amend ordinance number 16, 2015, and declaring an emergency.
Comments, Mr. O'Toole?
Yes, this was discussed in the finance department and recommended in the finance committee and recommended to council. It was discussed tonight in the committee of the whole. And basically, this is an accommodation to compensate for a change in the amount of property tax that the city will be collecting. But the good news is that the net bottom line of the whole process is that we'll end up with an approximately same size of general fund balance at the end of this year that we had originally proposed. So I would have Mitch McKaylick make a comment if you'd like to.
I have nothing to add. That's
Okay, that being said, then I'll move for suspension.
Second.
Alexander?
Yes.
Henry?
Yes.
Human?
Yes.
Lentine?
Yes.
Lewis? Morgan?
Yes.
O'Toole?
Yes.
Move for passage.
Alexander?
Yes.
Henry?
Yes.
Human?
Yes.
Lentine?
Yes.
Lewis? Morgan?
Yes.
O'Toole?
Yes.
Ordinance 39, 2015 passes unanimously.
Resolution number 40, 2015, introduced by O'Toole, first reading. A resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Sudsina and Associates for financial advisory services.
Madam President, this organization has worked for us for many years, and they have done an excellent job, and so I would move for suspension of the rules.
Second.
Alexander?
Yes.
Henry?
Yes.
Human?
Yes.
Lentine?
Yes.
Lewis? Morgan?
Yes.
O'Toole?
Yes.
Move for passage?
Second.
Alexander?
Yes.
Henry?
Yes.
Human?
Yes.
Lentine?
Yes.
Lewis? Morgan?
Yes.
O'Toole?
Yes.
Resolution 40, 2015 passes unanimously.
Resolution 41, 2015, introduced by Alexander, first reading. A resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Hollywoodscapes Landscaping for grass cutting and outdoor maintenance of private properties in the city.
Comments, Mr. Alexander?
This and the next is legislation to get the city out of cutting delinquent tall grass. When the city has done in the past, this will be done by a private contractor. There'll be two of them. This one
Second.
Alexander,
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
Human,
Yes.
Lentine,
Yes.
Lewis, Morgan,
Yes.
O'Toole.
Yes. Move for passage.
Second.
Alexander,
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
Human,
Yes.
Lentine,
Yes.
Lewis, Morgan,
Yes.
O'Toole.
Yes.
Resolution 41, 2015 passes unanimously.
Resolution 42, 2015, introduced by Alexander, first reading. A resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Chris Guzik Landscaping for grass cutting and outdoor maintenance of private properties in the city.
Comment? Oh.
Like I mentioned, it's the same as the one before, just a different landscaper. Gives Phil the opportunity of two different landscapers to get grass cut, legal suspension.
Alexander,
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
Human,
Yes.
Lentine,
Yes.
Lewis, Morgan,
Yes.
O'Toole.
Yes.
Move for passage.
Alexander,
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
Human,
Yes.
Lentine,
Yes.
Lewis, Morgan,
Yes.
O'Toole.
Yes.
Resolution 42, 2015 passes unanimously. Okay. That's it, right?
To adjourn?
Any, no correspondence on this, okay? Yes, we move to adjourn. Thank you. Second. Meeting adjourned. Like that.
Marcia, it's all your fault.